The night was heavy, as if the stars themselves had been swallowed by a thick, suffocating fog. I had been walking for hours through the ancient forest, where the trees whispered secrets I couldn't quite understand. Their gnarled branches twisted skyward like desperate hands, and the ground beneath me was soft, damp with moss and something older, something almost alive. I was searching for the old temple. The villagers spoke of it only in hushed tones, warning travelers to stay away. They said the temple was cursed, built to honor gods who had long been forgotten or, perhaps worse, never meant to be remembered at all. But I had to see it for myself. I had heard the stories as a child. My grandmother told me that, centuries ago, this land was ruled by gods who demanded sacrifices, not of animals, but of the human soul. They were cruel gods, indifferent to suffering, their hunger eternal. They lived beneath the earth, in caverns where shadows moved like living things. As a skeptic, I dismissed it as superstition, folklore designed to scare children into obedience. Yet here I was, my heart pounding with a mixture of dread and curiosity. The air grew colder as I pressed deeper into the woods. The fog thickened, wrapping around me like a shroud. Every step felt heavier. I heard a distant sound, like a faint chanting, soft, rhythmic, almost hypnotic. It pulled me forward. Finally, I emerged into a clearing. There, half buried in earth and roots, lay the ruins of the temple. Its stone pillars, cracked and worn, rose like broken bones from the ground. Strange symbols were carved into the walls, serpents intertwined with stars, eyes that seemed to follow me. I approached cautiously, feeling the weight of unseen eyes upon me. The chanting grew louder. It was not the villagers' voices but something else, something ancient and endless. Then, as I stepped onto the altar, the ground trembled beneath my feet. A voice echoed, low and resonant, as if spoken from the very bowels of the earth. "Why have you come?" I swallowed hard. "I seek the truth." Silence. Then the voice, more insistent, "Truth is a hunger. Are you prepared to feed it?" Before I could answer, the earth cracked open, and a cold wind surged from the depths. From the fissure emerged a figure, tall, shadowed, with eyes glowing like molten gold. Its face was obscured, shifting like smoke. "I am Nerith, keeper of the forgotten," it said. "Long have I waited for one brave, or foolish, enough to seek knowledge." I stood frozen, torn between terror and awe. "Ask your questions," it said. "But beware. Some truths carry a price." I nodded, voice trembling. "Tell me about the gods of this land. What are they?" Neritha's eyes gleamed brighter. "They are hunger made flesh. They crave souls, endless and unyielding. The temple you see was built to contain them, but containment is never eternal." I shivered. "Are they still here?" The figure nodded. "In the deep places beneath, they wait. And sometimes, they hunger for those who dare walk the earth above." A chill ran down my spine. "Have they ever taken anyone?" "Many. Their whispers haunt the night, luring the curious into darkness. Few return." I looked around, suddenly feeling the oppressive weight of the forest, the stillness that was not peace but waiting. "Why did you reveal yourself to me?" I asked. "Because you asked. Because I sense in you a question that cannot be silenced." "And what happens now?" Nerith extended a hand, black as void. "You may leave, bearing the knowledge of what lies beneath. But once you know, you are bound to the temple. Your dreams will be haunted. Your soul will hunger." I stepped back, heart racing. "I don't want that." "Then leave. But know this, once the veil is lifted, it never fully falls again." I turned and ran, the forest closing in behind me, the chanting fading but never quite gone. That night, in the safety of my home, I tried to forget. But the shadows moved in my dreams, and the hunger stirred deep inside me. And so I write this, a warning to those who seek forbidden knowledge: some doors are meant to remain closed, some truths buried in silence. For in the dark, the forgotten gods wait. And they are always hungry. The days that followed were a torment I could never have anticipated. The forest no longer felt distant, it had followed me, its ancient breath resting on my neck. The whispers I had heard around the temple now echoed in the silence of my home. At first, they were faint, like the rustling of leaves or the creak of floorboards, but each night they grew louder, more insistent. Sleep became a stranger. When I finally succumbed to exhaustion, my dreams twisted into endless corridors of shadow and stone, lit by an unearthly glow that seemed to emanate from nowhere and everywhere at once. The walls whispered in voices not meant for human ears, and I found myself wandering deeper into a darkness that felt both terrifying and inevitable. I dreamed of the temple again, but this time it was alive, breathing, pulsing. The serpentine carvings writhed and shifted, their eyes flickering open to stare at me with cold, ancient hatred. The altar bloodied, though no wound appeared on my flesh. From the darkness beneath, those golden eyes watched, waiting. One night, I awoke to the sensation of cold fingers trailing down my spine. I turned, heart pounding, but there was nothing. Yet the air in my room thickened, heavy with an unseen presence. A voice, low and insidious, whispered my name. I pulled the covers over my head, trembling. In the days that followed, I found strange marks on my skin, thin, jagged lines that looked like scars but burned with cold fire. I tried to explain them away, but deep down I knew they were not my own doing. The temple's curse was seeping into me. Desperation drove me back to the village. The locals eyed me warily, their faces tight with fear. An old woman approached me, her eyes clouded but sharp. "You carry their hunger now," she said, voice trembling. "The forgotten do not forgive. Is there a way to stop this?" I asked. She shook her head. "Only those who dare enter the temple again can hope to barter with the keeper. But beware, the price is never what you expect." I felt trapped between worlds, the waking and the haunted. The knowledge I had sought now felt like a chain tightening around my soul. I returned to my small home, but the whispers followed, growing more urgent, more demanding. They spoke of darkness beneath the earth, of endless hunger, of a night without end. One evening, drawn by a force I could neither resist nor understand, I found myself walking once more toward the temple. The fog had thickened into a wall, but I pushed through, heart hammering. At the altar, the fissure was wider now, a yawning wall leading into blackness. From within, the golden eyes glowed brighter, watching. "You return," the keeper said, voice like the grinding of stone. "I want to end this," I said, voice barely a whisper. The keeper laughed, a sound that seemed to shake the very earth. "End it? There is no end to hunger. But there is a price for silence." The ground beneath me trembled violently. From the depths rose a figure, taller than any man, cloaked in shadow and flame, its face a shifting mask of agony and rage. "I am the hunger," it said, voice like thunder and whispers combined. "You have tasted my truth. Now you are mine." I felt a coldness invade my bones, a pulling sensation like being drawn into a void. "Wait," I gasped. "Is there no hope?" The keeper's eyes flickered. "There is always a choice, but every choice devours something." A sudden clarity pierced the terror. I reached into my pocket and pulled out an ancient amulet I had found among my grandmother's things, a relic said to protect against darkness. I held it high. The amulet glowed with a soft, warm light. The hunger recoiled, its form flickering. "You wield the light of forgotten gods," the keeper said, voice trembling. "Perhaps there is a path yet." The ground stilled. The temple's shadows retreated for a moment, giving way to dawn's pale light. "Go," the keeper said. "But know this, hunger never truly dies. It waits. Always." I fled the temple, heart pounding, the amulet warm against my chest. The forest seemed less oppressive now, the fog beginning to lift. But in my dreams, the eyes still watch. The hunger still whispers. And I know, deep down, that one day I will have to return. The days stretched on, and though I tried to bury the memory of that night, it clung to me like a second skin. The villagers seemed to watch me with pity, or was it fear? Their eyes avoided mine, and the weight of their unspoken questions pressed heavily upon my soul. I was marked now, though no one could say it aloud. The amulet in my hand pulsed softly, a fragile shield against the creeping darkness. Yet I could feel its power waning, like a candle flickering against the suffocating night. Each time I closed my eyes, I was pulled back to the temple, the cold stone, the serpentine eyes, the hunger that whispered promises of oblivion. One night, driven by restless torment, I found myself wandering the outskirts of the village, near the edge of the forest where shadows pooled like spilled ink. The wind carried a scent I had not noticed before, earthy and sweet, like decaying leaves and something far older. I followed the scent, deeper into the woods, until I came upon a clearing bathed in moonlight. There, in the center, lay a pool of black water, still as glass but pulsing with a faint inner light. It was unnatural and beckoned to me. I knelt by the water's edge and gazed into its depths. Images flickered, visions of ancient ceremonies, gods feasting beneath the earth, faces twisted in agony and ecstasy. I saw sacrifices made in blood, souls torn from bodies, and the temple rising from the ground like a wound in the earth. Suddenly, the water rippled, and a hand emerged, a pale, slender hand with fingers too long and thin, tipped with nails like sharpened claws. It grasped mine with a coldness that seared through my skin. "Do not fear," a voice whispered, both distant and intimate. "I am Lyra, once mortal, now bound to the hunger below. I can help you." I wanted to recoil, but the hand held me fast. "Help me? How?" "The gods beneath crave more than souls, they crave understanding, companionship. I was chosen to be their voice, their anchor to the living world. I can teach you to resist, to bargain." Desperation made me nod. Lyra's eyes, pale and unearthly, met mine. "Come with me." She pulled me into the water. It was cold but not unkind, like slipping into a dream. The world dissolved around me, replaced by an endless cavern lit by glowing fungi and twisting roots. In the center of the cavern stood a great altar, encircled by serpents carved from obsidian, their eyes like stars. Lyra led me to the altar. "This is where the hunger sleeps. Here, we offer not blood, but will. You must choose, submit, or bind yourself to the god's service." I trembled. "What happens if I refuse?" Her face grew sorrowful. "Refusal means endless torment. The hunger will consume you piece by piece, until nothing remains." I looked around, feeling the cold gaze of the gods pressing in from the shadows. "I choose to bind myself," I whispered. A surge of power coursed through me, both terrifying and exhilarating. The hunger did not vanish but settled inside me, a living fire that burned away fear and doubt. Lyra smiled. "You are no longer prey. You are the keeper now." I awoke by the pool, the dawn breaking through the trees. The amulet was cold in my hand, but my heart burned with a new resolve. From that day, I walked the border between worlds, neither fully human nor wholly divine. The hunger whispered still, but I answered with its own voice. "I am the keeper of the forgotten. And the hunger is my curse, and my gift. I have become something neither living nor dead, a tether between the world of men and the abyss that waits beneath the earth. The hunger lives within me, a cold flame that never dies, whispering secrets in tongues forgotten by time. It is a constant companion, a shadow in the darkest corners of my mind, both a curse and a grim salvation. Sometimes, when the moon hangs low and the forest is cloaked in silver mist, I return to the temple ruins. The stones no longer feel broken but alive, thrumming with an ancient power that hums beneath my skin. The serpents carved into the walls coil and uncoil slowly, their eyes glowing faintly in the dark, watching, waiting. I speak to them in the language Lyra taught me, the language of silence and shadow, and they answer with subtle shifts of darkness and light, like breath rising from stone. The villagers avoid me now. Their faces are pale, their voices hushed. They call me witch, harbinger, and monster. Some leave offerings at the edge of the woods, a loaf of bread, a flask of wine, a carved talisman, tokens to appease the dark that follows me like a living thing. They do not know what I have become, nor the cost I have paid for the knowledge I carry. Yet, they feel the change in the air whenever I pass, the unnatural cold that trails me like a second skin, and the heavy silence that falls wherever I tread. One night, beneath a sky emptied of stars, the hunger stirred more violently than ever before. The very earth beneath me trembled, the ancient stones groaning with awakening power. I stood once more at the temple's altar, clutching the amulet that had saved me, though now it felt heavier, as if weighted with the despair of centuries. The hunger whispered, not merely in my mind, but in the very air around me, a voice like the grinding of bones and the sigh of the void. The hunger grows. The veil thins. Soon, the gods will rise again. I felt fear clawing at my chest, but alongside it, a strange calm settled deep in my bones. This curse, the terrible gift I had embraced, was a part of me now. I was the keeper, the last sentinel standing between the world above and the gods below, a guardian bound by fate and blood. The ground beneath my feet trembled, the stones shifted, and from the depths came a voice, ancient and terrible, as old as time itself. Come, keeper. Join us fully. Become the hunger incarnate. I closed my eyes, breathing deep the cold, heavy air. The hunger within me flared, a living fire that burned away the last of my hesitation and doubt. The pull was fierce, the eternal void calling with the promise of oblivion. But I did not succumb. Because I am not lost. I am the hunger's keeper. I am the guardian of forgotten gods. Though the night is long and filled with shadows, I will stand. I am a bridge between worlds, between light and darkness, between the living and the forgotten, between sanity and madness. The hunger waits, patient and eternal, always hungry, always watching. And I will keep it at bay. Until the stars fall from the sky like shattered glass. Until the earth itself splits open and swallows the sun. Until the night consumes us all in endless blackness. Then, and only then, will the hunger be free. But until that day, I remain. The keeper. I feel the weight of that role settle on me like a cloak woven from shadow and stone. I walk the edge of two worlds, forever changed, forever haunted, yet unbroken. The forest still whispers my name, the serpents in the temple still watch, and the hunger never sleeps. I sometimes wonder if there are others like me, bound to ancient forces beyond comprehension, walking their own lonely paths. But whether I am alone or not, this burden is mine to bear. The night will come again. The hunger will stir again. And when it does, I will be ready. Because I have learned the truth of the forgotten gods. And though it devours me piece by piece, it cannot claim my soul. Not while I still stand. Not while I am the keeper.